In the 25 plus years I've known him, I've never seen him kick a soccer ball, never seen him shoot a basketball, and never seen him throw a baseball. And yet he's had probably the biggest impact on youth athletics in this town.
He looked at a bigger picture, trying to give the youths in this community, the young kids in this community, a chance to be something and have something.
The one thing that I loved about Joel, and I always did, was that he was always there for the right reason, and that was the kids.
The most important thing about Joel is kids come first, and everything else is second.
If there's a kid who needs help, he knows whether he goes about it openly and helps the kid out, or he goes about it around the back door and helps the kid out without anybody knowing. Some of us know, and we appreciate him for that.
It always impressed me that he spent quality time with people, and as a parent, that was what I always thought that parenting was spending quality time with your kids.
Joel has given so much of himself to specific people and kids so that they have something and they don't slide through the cracks. And I think you can talk to some of those kids and they'll be the first to say, without him, I would have been nowhere to nothing. So he needs to be commended for that.
Joel, I think, was ahead of his time during the 15 years he was down there, plus the Booster Club, because while everybody had a manual on how to run a tournament, Joel threw the manual away and said, this is how I'm going to run the tournament.
He has a good feel for how events should be run and, how people should be treated. And, I just think that he has a flair for doing the right thing when you get to these things.
Joel was one of those guys where he dotted the I's and crossed the T's, and he made sure that everything was flawless. And you could tell Joel sweating and pacing if something went a little bit wrong.
I noticed that he likes to be prepared for everything. And I remember a baseball tournament, he had me practice the cannon somewhere around 11 o'clock at night, and just to make sure it worked.
Anything that Joel Chagnon does, if it's going to be done, it's going to be done well.
The Hall of Fame is a perfect example, just at that night, people are just floored, at what goes on.
I always think that if Joel cuts himself, he's not going to bleed red. He probably bleeds orange and black, is my guess.
He has made his folks proud. They gave him an opportunity and, boy, he did just what the plan was.
My first memory of Joel was 1988. He was a junior in high school and easily the biggest member of the Farmington High School boys basketball team at 6'5". But he wasn't the team center. He wasn't even a power forward. He was a scorekeeper. We're talking about someone who did not play sports, ever. For Joel, who acknowledges not possessing an ounce of athletic ability, the call of sports, particularly to support programs for youth athletes, was a fierce call that he answered without reservation at an early age. He was never involved with the Farmington 500 as a child and only got a whiff of the organization once he was enrolled in college. He became a T-ball coach in 1990, thanks to the late and venerable George Koukounis, who we've already honored here tonight. The next step was league officer and later the club's presidency, a position he held for 11 productive years. Joel helped to change, for the better, the face of the 500 during his tenure as president. He added more programs, integrated girls into the 500, and worked tirelessly to make sure more kids got the chance to participate, even if they could not afford to do so. For Joel, the focus of the club was very clear. Kids came first, and everything else was a distant second. That's the way it should be, always. Joel would argue, I think a bit unconvincingly, that he should not be honored tonight, but he has to be inducted or honored, and if not this year, then when? Tonight is perfect because he was part of the 1988 championship team and a friend and classmate of 1989 graduate Lynette Mosier Place. What's not to like? He's been a Farmington 500 volunteer for 25 years, and I suspect No, I know he's got another 25 or 30 in him. For Farmington's sake, I hope so. So sooner rather than later, I give you one of the town's most effective and passionate volunteer supporters of youth athletics, my good friend, Joel Chagnon.
Oh, will he cry? Oh, probably. Now, wait a minute. How do you know that I can't kick a soccer ball or hit a baseball or shoot a basketball? And maybe it was because I didn't want to show up any of you. No, the truth is, I'm not an athlete. And other than joking about it from time to time, I've never professed to be one. What I am, though, is a man who is passionate about kids, passionate about sports, and passionate about my hometown. And so that puts me in the category of contributor. I'm proud to be from Farmington, and I'm overwhelmed by this honor. Because I thought about it, my name's going to be on a plaque aside other contributors, the likes of Buzz Moulton, Rufus Runlet, Paul Moulton, Mike Lee, and my dad, just to name a few. And that, my friends, makes me very proud. I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. It's just an honor to be inducted along so many childhood friends. I've had some time to reflect about my life and what factors helped to mold my involvement with the 500 and local athletics. Perhaps the number one factor was an event that I was too young to even remember. December 2nd, 1971, for that was the day that I officially became a Chagnon. I had two wonderful parents who demonstrated through life that you help others whenever you can. I watched my mom do it all for many years, and my father, who's here with us tonight, demonstrated that throughout my life as well. And so I thank my parents for shaping who I've become. I have to thank Coach Mike Lee. You see, Mike Lee asked me to be his manager, and that moment changed my life as well, because I was finally part of a team. And Mike was such a fantastic coach that no matter what your role, he taught you that you were an important part of the team. And when you're the manager, you have many roles. You ever picked up a basketball out of a spit bucket? I had to do that. And I did it because that was my role. I remember early on, one of my roles was to grab the equipment bag, the ball bag, when we left scrimmages. And early on in my sort of managing time with the team, we were at a preseason scrimmage, jamboree, and I was joking and laughing with the guys and left the ball bag sitting in the gym. Got on the bus, got back into town. Coach says, "Where's the ball bag?" I said, "I don't know, didn't you grab it?" He says, "You're the manager." I said, "Oh boy." So he was not happy, to say the least. So I got home, and luckily my dad had a connection down in Portsmouth, and we got the balls back in a timely fashion so that I could get back into Coach Lee's good graces. So thank you, Dad, for that. I surrounded myself with good people growing up, especially in my early 20s when I was growing and trying to become whatever man I was going to be. I spent time with last names like Lee, Cardinal, Reynolds, Moulton, Sargent, and Vashon. They were my inner circle of friends, and those names are some of the very best names that this community has to offer. And I thank them for enriching my life. I have some special people that are here tonight that I'd like to acknowledge. I have my friends, the Keyses, Jim and Rena and Dick, my friends Mark and Dolly, my Aunt Barbara. These are the people that I spend my summers with. They're good people. people I'm privileged to know, and I thank them all for being here. My broadcast colleague, Pete Barker's here tonight. Pete and I have been calling games for local sports for over 20 years, and we have one heck of a time every time we do it. Thank you, Pete, for being here as well. My association with the 500 has been a long journey and one that's still in progress. During my tenure, I had the honor of working with many people. I cannot name all of them, even if I tried. But I would like to thank and acknowledge people like Steve Durantz, Reggie Charette, Jim Cook, Randy Talon, Mike Whaley, Jocelyn Robinson, sidekick for so many years, Danny Woodman. He helped make that run with the 500 so very special. All of you did. And I thank you all for everything you've done for me, and I thank you for allowing me to enjoy this honor. When it's my turn to take my final breath, if I'm fortunate enough to enter those pearly gates, my first stop will be that small-town barbershop in the sky, when I will enjoy some laughs and talk old times with guys like Charlie Roy, Pete Colley, Winston Pinkham, Mo Chason, Walt Roulard, and of course, Rufus Runlet, the founding fathers of the 500. This is a tough one. I've been blessed with very many special moments in my life. And if I told you that tonight was the greatest moment, I'd be lying. Because the greatest moment was April 21st, 2010, when my mother gave me the privilege of sitting next to her while she took her final breath and went to heaven. The second greatest moment of my life was June 22nd, 2006, when on a quiet night at camp, Adam and I agreed to be father and son. Recently, Adam was named the new Farmington High School basketball coach, and I know that he'll work hard to build a program and bring back the glory that seemed to have disappeared so long ago. But tonight, here with all of you, this very moment, this is moment number 3. Thank you.